going on, everybody? It's EpicNick100, and today, after 2 years, I am back with another top 10 LEGO minifigures video for you guys. Now, the last one that I did was top 10 LEGO Marvel minifigures almost 2 years ago. So, it's been a while, but I'm back, and I have a ton of more of these videos planned. And today, in case you guys can tell by the title, I am doing the top 10 LEGO Iron Man minifigures. Now, I've picked 10 of my personal favorite Iron Man minifigures. Now, if you guys prefer some figures over others, that's entirely your opinion, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This is just my personal recommendation. Let me know down in the comments which Iron Man minifigure is your favorite. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you guys my top 10 list. Starting off, the number 10 list is the Iron Man Mark 6 minifigure from the very first Avengers sets. Now, I really love those sets, and I really love this figure, so that's why I have him on this list in the Mark 6. And to be honest, I have him at number 10, mostly because he doesn't really have as much detail as some of the other figures, but it is still a great figure nonetheless. I really like the triangle arc reactor piece right here. This figure came out like 5 years ago. Five or six probably now that I think about it, jeez. But I really like this figure. Unfortunately though, it's not as detailed as some of the other figures I like, so that's why I put it down at number 10. So I think that's it. So let's move on to number 9. Moving on to number 9 is the Iron Man Mark 42 suit. Now, in case you guys aren't familiar, this came out in the Iron Man 3 sets, and this suit was heavily featured in Iron Man 3. Now, Iron Man 3 isn't really one of my personal favorite Marvel movies, mostly because they screwed up the Mandarin, but I still like the figure nonetheless. Back at the time this came out in 2013, this has a lot of detail compared to the Mark 6, and this was actually like the first Iron Man figure released since those sets. So that's why I have it at number 9. It's cool, it has some nice detail, and I don't know, it's different. It has different colors on it, I guess. So, I think that's it for number 9, so let's move on to number 8. Alright, now, before you say anything, I know this is War Machine and this is kind of a cop-out, but it's still technically an Iron Man figure, and in Iron Man 2, Rhodey did steal he stole an Iron Man suit to make the War Machine suit. So it's the exact same thing, and the figure is made exactly the same way as the Iron Man figures. It just has that extra piece, like the machine gun, over the shoulder. I really like this figure. The War Machine, like this War Machine minifigure, came out also in the Iron Man 3 sets. Even though it wasn't even War Machine, he was Iron Patriot. And I really wish I had that figure, but unfortunately I don't. But this figure is really cool. This is like our first War Machine, and this is our first Iron Man style minifigure that actually wasn't Iron Man, so that's why I wanted to include him on the list. And he just looks so different too. He has different details. He has a different arc reactor piece, and he has the nice shoulder cannon. And for the time, you know, that's what Lego did a really good job with trying to make that, and it looks like to scale and everything, and I really like it personally, so that's why I also put it on this list. And plus it's gray. It's a completely different figure than what all the other Iron Man figures were at the time. So that's why I have War Machine Mark II. This is the Mark II War Machine. This is why I have War Machine Mark II at my number 8 slot. So let's keep going. Moving along with number 7, we have the Heartbreaker suit. So this minifigure was also released in the Iron Man 3 sets, and I think this is actually the last minifigure from those Iron Man sets that's in my top 10 list. So the Heartbreaker suit was really cool because it basically took what we had like standard Iron Man minifigures and changed it, and this is like the first serious like suit variation that we've seen, other than like kind of like the basic design that was like reincorporated into Iron Man 3 with the Mark 42. It's just, this figure is so cool. And this actually, like, I think really sparked Lego to start making like multiple Iron Man minifigures with different suits and different colors and stuff. And I really do like this figure. I like the chest piece especially because, if you guys don't know, the Heartbreaker suit in the comics and in Iron Man 3, its main purpose was to basically like fire more powerful like arc reactor blasts from the suit. And it was really cool too because instead of just having like a white arc reactor piece, it's blue with the blue eyes, and the the mask printing, like the helmet printing, is slightly different, which is kind of nice, and I like this detail here on the back. So I would have reviewed these sets if I had my if I actually used my channel back in 2013, because I thought Iron Man 3 was a fun movie to watch. It just wasn't one of my favorites. So that's why I still have a bunch of Iron Man 3 figures on this list. And plus, they're all really unique and they haven't been made since. So I think that's it for number 7. So let's move on to the next figure. Okay, so at number 6, we have the Scuba Iron Man minifigure. If you keep hearing me differentiate from saying like figure to suit and then like the mark number and stuff, I'm sorry, I just don't know really what I'm saying here because I only do one take usually. But this is the Scuba Iron Man minifigure. Now, in case you guys don't know, this figure came out in the, it was like the Red Skull, the Iron Skull sub set. I did a review of it on my channel last year, so if you guys want to go check that out, feel free. This figure, I put it on this list mostly because it is a completely like different and unique color to what we've seen from any other Iron Man figure. Like, we've never seen a green Iron Man suit, especially in Lego. And originally, I wasn't going to have this one on, I wasn't going to have this figure on the list at all. I was going to have maybe like the Mark 7 on there, but ultimately I decided it was too similar to the Mark 6 in feature, like in terms of like quality, so I decided to throw him in there. I decided to throw this guy in there. So, and I'm actually really happy with this decision of putting it in. And it's a really cool figure, mostly because of its unique factor, and it has a lot of nice printing. I don't want to take up too much of your time and show you guys what he looks like without the big chest piece, but that's really all there is for the scuba suit, so let's keep going. Alright, so moving on to number 5. This is actually one of my personal favorite Iron Man minifigures, but it is the Spacesuit Iron Man, otherwise known as the Gemini armor in the movies, I guess. Now, in case you guys don't know, this minifigure also came out in a set last year in the Avengers Space Mission set. It was the set that came with Thanos and Captain Marvel, and Captain America and the big like Avengers Quinjet. I actually did a review of that too on my channel last year, so if you guys want to go check that out, feel free. But this figure is so cool, and it's mostly for the same reason why I like the Scuba Iron Man suit so much, but that is because it is a completely different color than what we've seen before. Like, this is all white, and it just looks awesome. I think it has a lot of nice detail. You guys can see like the little mesh design that it has in those gray parts, and the white and gold look really cool. The arc reactor piece and the eyes look really cool on the armor, and especially like the printing here. Like, this figure overall is just so cool, and I like how they added this detail on the back, like adding like back thrusters to it. So I think that's really it for number 5. So let's get in to the next figure. Moving on to number 4 is the War Machine Mark III, otherwise known as the War Machine figure that we got in the Captain America Civil War sets. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking like, why do you have both War Machine minifigures in here? This is just supposed to be Iron Man. Well, like the case with the first War Machine minifigure, it is the exact same thing. It's just a different prints. It's just different printing and different details. And mostly because I actually really like this figure. This is probably one of my favorite figures that was released in the Civil War wave, alongside Hawkeye and Spider-Man. But this figure is just so cool. I think this actually looks a bit more comic accurate than the other one, mostly because like in most iterations of the comics that I've seen him in, War Machine usually has like a really either dark gray or sometimes black armor with like the red arc reactor piece and like the red eye slits. And in case you guys are wondering, I actually had this figure in my Lego Avengers collection too. But I changed the back piece that War Machine had, mostly because I wasn't fond of what Lego gave us. So I decided to just remake what Lego did a couple of years ago with their first War Machine figure, and I just recreated the same machine gun piece on his shoulder, and I just incorporated it on this figure. So I think it looks better this way, but that is why I have the War Machine Mark III at my number 4 spot. So let's get into the top 3. Standing at my number 3 spot is the Iron Man Mark 45 minifigure. Now, The main reason why I have this figure at number 3 is because I really like the printing that LEGO did for this. It's just the gray, gold, and red, and even like the light red accents on parts of the minifigure that you can see there. It just makes this figure so cool, and I'm really glad that this figure came in a cheap set during the Age of Ultron sets. Now, I liked Age of Ultron as a movie, but it's probably not one of my favorite Marvel movies. I like a few other ones better, but this figure is just so cool. I like the hexagon piece it's like the hexagon shape around the arc reactor. It just looks cool. The helmet printing is really nice. I like it overall, and they didn't reuse any parts to make this figure. And I just think it looks so cool for that reason. And that's why I like it so much. So, I think that's done with number 3. So let's move on to number 2. Alright, so the runner-up in my top 10 LEGO Iron Man minifigures list is the Mark 46 suit, otherwise known as the Iron Man minifigure that we got in the Civil War set, like the big one, the big airport battle set. Now, I like this figure a lot because it is basically a direct comic adaptation, or theatrical adaptation of the Bleeding Edge suit in the comics, and Iron Man's Bleeding Edge suit is probably my favorite suit that he's ever had in the comics. It's so cool with like all the lights all over the torso and everything. It just looks so cool. And the back printing is just amazing. And if you guys want to hear my full thoughts on this figure, go and check out my review of that set. Now, unfortunately, the helmet and the legs are reused from the Mark 43 suit from the Age of Ultron sets. But, to be honest, I think they work better with this figure. I know some of you guys might not agree with me, but I don't really like the Mark 43 suit that much, so that's why I don't really have any complaints about this one, especially in terms of like reusing old parts. But Captain America: Civil War is my favorite Marvel movie, and even though he's not my number 1, he's definitely one of my top favorite minifigures that we've gotten from the LEGO group for Iron Man. So I think I've been talking way too long about that. So we're done with number 2, so it's time to show you guys my number 1 pick for the top 10 LEGO Iron Man minifigures. Now finally, my number 1 spot on the top 10 LEGO Iron Man minifigures list is the Silver Centurion suit. Now, in case you guys are wondering, this figure actually didn't come out in any of the sets. This figure actually was a GameStop pre-order bonus for the LEGO Marvel Avengers game that came out last year, like the game that was based off of the MCU. So, this figure is my favorite, my top favorite, mostly because of just all the detail that was included on this figure. And I like how LEGO, I guess, I wouldn't say, well, I guess it would be limited edition, but that's mostly, well, yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But anyway, this is limited edition, which is why LEGO was allowed to, I guess, they had the room to add as much printing as they could on this figure, and that's why we don't really get as quality Iron Man minifigures in the sets. It's because the ones in the sets are just produced at a mass quantity, and they need to get as many as made as possible. So, but anyway, this figure is just so cool. There's printing everywhere, from like the arms, the legs, the feet, then on the back, and this huge armor piece is just really cool. And in case you guys are curious about what it looks like underneath, it just looks like this same design, but more of just like printed. And it is just so cool. And most of the Iron Man minifigures that we've got have actually been like red and gold, and this is like the first deviation where it's red and silver. So that's why I also really like it, aside from all the detail. So I've shown you guys my top 10 list, so let's get into the closing of this video. Alright everybody, that about does it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you guys want to see more of these top 10 minifigures videos, then definitely let me know down in the comments. Let me know, what's your favorite LEGO Iron Man minifigure? You guys already know my personal favorites, and I definitely have more of these planned throughout the year. And my next 2 videos that I have planned are the Wonder Woman set review, and I have another minifigure collection video planned after that. So stay tuned for those. Follow me on all my social media platforms, links are down in the description below. And you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the icon on the screen, or looking at 2 other videos that I have already up here on the screen. So until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.